Hello, everyone, and welcome to what we call something we don't have a name for yet.
Something we don't have a name for.
The 6th year birthday celebration, 9+ year celebration of partnership. I'm here today at this office recording with two people I really like. One is T-Rock. He's behind the camera today, so shout out T-Rock. He's back, and we're going to make some cool content today. The other is my longtime business partner. Got a couple business partners now. This is my OG one. We've been through a ton together.
It's been many years, man.
Yeah.
I was doing the math. It's like 8 years.
Is that what it is?
8 or 9 years we've known each other.
This is Sierra McCleve. We are the co-founders of Thirst, and we have more history than that too. So Thirst just crossed its 6th birthday.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday,
I should have brought
baby.
some celebrations, some poppers.
Little club soda shots.
Cheers!
We'll have to do this for now. But we just passed our 6th birthday. That's from our grand opening date. The September 22nd, 2016 was the grand opening of our downtown store. And we were working on Thirst for several months before that, for sure, too. But we had a business before that, too. And anyways, we're going to get into all of it. Sarah McCleve, let's do this. Welcome.
I'm super excited.
Dude, I'm pumped. We've been talking about this for forever, and a lot of people have been asking about it. A lot of people ask about our partnership in general. They ask about, like, what Sierra's involvement is with Thirst and, like, kind of how our partnership works. And we're going to dive into it.
Let's go, man. 6 years.
It's been insane.
Happy freaking birthday.
What have you been up to? Before
Lately?
we even jump in, yeah.
Lately? So I own a bakery.
Wait, she got a ticket
Oh,
on the way down.
Yeah, I got a ticket on the
Hustling
way here.
down, got a ticket.
I got a ticket on the way here. It's my first one in a long time. The officer was very kind. Shout out Summit County. I'll be seeing you soon. I was hustling down here. So let's see. Before we started Thirst, I had a bakery. I just closed it down, man. I stopped retail about a year ago.
Closed. Then?
Official retail closed a year ago.
That's right.
So my drive-through ran that for 9 years, and then I've been doing Dottie's Kolaches in Heber City, Utah, and I've been doing wholesale for the last year, and I'm getting ready to do another new chapter. So I'm getting ready to shut that down all the way. So
what about tiny houses?
Tiny houses are going right now. I have 3 tiny houses in southern Utah. That's what I've been putting a lot of energy into, and I'm excited to put more and perhaps build some more, which maybe we'll have time to dive into.
I like it.
Yeah, man.
Well, I want to start off with this. When we're talking about our story,
oh my gosh,
the OG logo.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
We'll put it on the screen up there.
Many years.
This was made
Ice.
in paint. Yeah. I don't know if you're familiar. One of the most high-tech platforms there is called. Is it Microsoft?
These kids
or Windows Paint. Windows Paint was the original logo.
I can't believe you know what paint is.
No, well, I made that logo in paint.
Oh, man.
And holy crap, how did Olympus Ice?
Olympus Ice.
Olympus Ice. So
shaved ice.
Shaved ice. I'll start off with kind of how it started. I was 16-ish when we started thinking about this. I had a lawn mowing business, was kind of starting to hang out with my friends for the first chapter of my life a lot, like really being focused on that. One of the places we would hang out is a place called Island Flavor. It was in Holiday. It was like the hangout spot. All of my girls that I thought were cute worked there.
Okay.
And like friends, people would go there and not. I mean, a lot of people were buying shaved ice, but people would go there just to hang out, like meet up with their friends. I was like, this is interesting, and started thinking about it, and then I was like, okay, I need a shack. You need a building for one of these. And jumped on KSL.com and found what turned out to be Olympus Ice, which was an old coffee shack that you had. How did you even get that again?
So my building, when I started Dottie's, they had built a coffee shack on the corner of this property. Like built it to a foundation.
Was it in a foundation when you got it?
It was on a foundation. Okay. So this coffee shack that I was originally going to use for my idea, Dottie's, but then I had this back building that ended up making more sense, and I turned that into a drive-through because I started with sodas 9 years ago too with Dottie's. That's originally what I was going to do there.
Was it 9 years ago that you guys helped?
Yeah. In October, man. That's our Dottie's birthday. So this shack kind of blocked the line of sight, and I wasn't using it, so I had to hire a house moving company to come lift it off a foundation because I didn't want to tear it down.
We're talking about like 13 feet wide?
Yeah.
Maybe, if that?
I mean, let's see. It would have had to been like it probably like 8 by 13 or something like that.
But it was nice. It's like
6 by 13.
It was like top of the line for coffee soda shack.
So,
for how big it was, at least.
Yeah, it was. So I had this on a skid now because I didn't want to destroy it. So I had my dad build a thing and then listed it KSL for sale because I wasn't using it. And then this kid calls me up and is trying to get me to rent him this shack.
Well, so actually what happens is in the KSL description, it said open to business inquiries.
Yeah.
Open to business inquiries. So you opened the door.
I did.
And I don't even know, like, so I saw the shack. I it was like 10, it was listed like for $10,000 or $15,000 or something like that. Definitely didn't have that much money, but still we went to look at it. My dad took me up there to go look at it. We looked at it, and I don't know if at that point I think I had asked you or something, what did you mean by open to business inquiries or something like that.
Yeah, and I done shaved ice at Dottie's.
Yeah.
Like my first menu, man. One of these times we're gonna have to throw that up on there because it was all over the place. Like I had shaved ice, I had like soda mixers, I had kolaches, which it is a kolache bakery. I had everything on my menu, so I had some experience there. So I think I said something like, "Well, I've done it before. Like I can help you and mentor you." And I think you had called me later and we're just like, "Hey, so like, can I lease it?" I said, "No, but I'll partner up with you. Like, I can provide some help. I think we'll get you going a little bit."
Yeah. It was not normal though. Like it was very entrepreneurial.
Yeah, well, that's what I was just gonna say. Is like I think like you can tell a real entrepreneur. I think is if they have those ideas that won't go away, then you just have to scratch that itch.
Yeah.
Like you were young.
Yeah.
And you'd done some entrepreneurial stuff before. I had too. And that's how I started Dottie's. Like I couldn't stop thinking about it. Yeah, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I was when I started Dottie's, I was 26.
Yeah.
In my 20s. Anyway, but like I think that's just like when it just won't go away, and then you just figure out how to make it happen. Like true son of an entrepreneur.
Yeah. So it showed up. We look at it. I'm like, gosh, this thing is perfect. This is exactly what we need. And my dad, who does finance, not an entrepreneur, but is good with numbers.
Great with numbers.
Yeah. Showed me literally like the same layout and like the way. It's funny how like, and you've done this a lot for me too. Is like the first thing you learn sticks for forever, and like there's different formats of it, but it's the same base. This
foundational
is
stuff.
The same foundation. Literally, this is how I understood basically a projection or a P&L very simply from a young age, because my dad showed me, because he was like, after we went to that meeting, he's like, how many snow cones would you actually have to sell to make this realistic? He's a numbers guy, realistic, right?
Yeah.
And gosh, I'm freaking so glad that he planted that.
It's really good to have that balance in your life as a dreamer entrepreneur, to have that other person to be like, let's look at the reality. So. And
to be able to actually like look at them and know how to analyze them and like be practical about them. So we looked at it. We're like, okay, this is what the expenses are going to be. We projected them out. We said this is how much revenue we would need to make to not only cover those, but make a little bit of profit. Yeah. And I was trying to show you that I could make profit, because I was proposing that we would be, were we just like 50-50 or something like that, or 60-40?
I don't remember that.
I remember.
I don't remember that one.
But like we proposed something, and I figured out how many snow cones I would have to do, and we jumped on like whatever the Zoom was at the time. I don't know. We showed you the spreadsheet, and the rest is history. Yeah. We found a spot.
Was that 3 summers or 2?
3 summers.
3 summers, yeah.
Because the last summer I was running Limp Size and Thirst.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
It kind of came, and it came to the point, for me, where it was like, we're either going to have to open like 20 of these shaved ice shacks. Yep. Or do something different.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
It's quite, it was a grind.
Yeah.
And that type of business, you have to have numbers, because to make any money.
It's just not really that great money. Yeah, totally.
So
we did it.
Was born, man.
Yeah, and the thing about Olympus Ice that I feel like translated most into Thirst. A lot of stuff did. Guerrilla marketing stuff did. That finance thing did.
Experience, dude.
Just the initial.
Wanting to have it be a hangout place.
Yeah.
The
experience. I thought you experienced it. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It was the core thing. Is like, people aren't here for the snow cones.
Yeah.
People are not here for the snow cones. I think it's like that is exactly how you describe Thirst.
Like you made it fun. There was lights. There was always music.
Yep.
Like that is another foundational thing that anyone could do with a lemonade stand.
Yeah.
And that translates to any size of business
Yeah.
to like really pay attention to what your customer wants and that experience you want them to have.
So we created the coolest shaved ice shack ever.
It was awesome.
Literally, it was shaved ice shack, and we had every night there was games out. We had string lights, there was music, and it was.
Were there board games and stuff too?
Yeah,
like
board games, tables. Like we spent a lot of time on it. Like, and I worked every day, all day in it, and I had to get customers in there and learn how to do all these basic stuff. But the number one thing was like we weren't selling snow cones. So I was like, okay, this is interesting. This is fun, and then transition into soda. You were watching soda, so tell us your background on soda. Because credit where credit's due. Sierra had the idea of starting a soda shop at least.
So I had watched soda pop off down in southern Utah. That's where I grew up. I went to high school and college there, and I had watched this soda shop down there go from no cars for like 4 years to all of a sudden 20 in line. And I was driving by. I was working kind of split, so I was driving by 4 times a day, and so I'd count cars every single time I drove by. And when it popped off, I think it was kind of like some mommy bloggers that really gave it its start.
Yeah.
They started blogging about it then, and then just boom, like 20 freaking cars in line. And I always thought, that's interesting. Just watching from a distance, just like you did with shaved ice, like, that's interesting. So I camped out and I counted cars, and I went and I listened for average sale. So I figured out revenue per customer.
Yeah.
And I kind of like did some reverse engineering and just calculated, and I was like, man, their costs at the time, it's different now. The costs at the time were quite low for soda, and they were charging a decent amount. And I thought, man, I think I could do that and really make it happen. Yeah. So that's why I started Dottie's. It was supposed to be just soda. It was going to be like a soda shop.
Yeah.
And then for me, on my side of the story, I found kolaches, and it was a unique differentiator because you can't. We know now, but like then. I'm glad I had a little bit of that foresight to know that anyone could do it. Yeah. Anyone could start a soda shop. If I'm there counting cars and figuring it out, anyone could. So to differentiate, it had to be on something. You had to make it special, which is one thing we built first on.
It's such an obvious thing to differentiate, but like I was thinking about that the other day too. Just like literally, what are you doing that's different? Like, you're not doing anything different.
And a lot of people think it's just menu.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it could be. But anyway, then I had found kolaches, and that was a good differentiator because it was actual food. And so I got into the soda game up there 9 years ago doing it out of my place. But I kind of drifted from that because for me, in my world at that time, the kolache was the more unique thing. Yeah. It was more fun. Yeah. It was brand new. I was the only shop in Utah for like about a year. Yeah. There was one before me that had closed down, but so that was a unique differentiator.
Did you also just get excited? Like you just got like, I don't know about you, but like, and you know me, I just get so excited about things, and I just like lose my focus on the thing I'm doing for a second and just go in and do it. Yeah. The next thing you know, like, holy crap, okay, we're here, have a kolache shop.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, every day for 9 years I've been like, I'm like, how am I doing this? Because everyone asked me, did you always want to be a baker? That's so cool. I'm like, not at all. But I'm a damn good baker now. Yeah. With a few things.
Dottie the baker. Okay, so, then I get a phone call one day.
Yeah.
And I remember it pretty specifically. Like, it's not like one legendary phone call, I remember the script, but it was something along the lines of, yo, you got to check out this soda thing. Mm-hmm. Like, literally, that was it. And we were a little bit, like, I would say you were definitely, like, with Olympus Ice, you just kind of let me go on that. Like, you were there for whatever I wanted to ask you about. Yeah. But it was less risk, honestly, than Olympus, than Thirst was, right? There's less money on the line.
Less to get going.
You were really letting me completely just figure that one out, even though, like, you probably, had experience that you wanted to maybe implement into it. That was one of the things I actually appreciate about you most. I was going to say at some point in the pod is, like, we'll talk about our partnership in a second. I think the number one key for any partnership, and honestly probably any relationship, is literally not having ego and putting what's best for the other person and you, like, on a pedestal together. Do you know what I mean? And just not being selfish, just being selfless. And one of the most selfless things I think that you've done, and not a lot of people see it, is you've really let me do my thing. Really, really let me do my thing, and, like, let me pick when I wanted support and went hard on that. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, dude.
But anyways, that's what it was with Olympus Ice. You called me with Thirst, and she had this idea of she's like, basically Swigs in Provo, St. George. That's really where it was. This was 7 years ago.
Yeah.
At least.
It was
at
7,
least 7 years ago.
We started planning 7 years ago.
He's like, this stuff's crazy. I wasn't, like, pumped on the idea. Like, people ask me all the time, too. Like, what's your favorite soda? And, like, why do you like soda so much? I'm like, literally, this wasn't even my idea. Like, I like business. Like, yeah. Like, I'm down to, like, literally, if you know me, T-Rock knows this, too. I'm down for anything. Like, and you know this, too. Like, we should try this new business
The
idea.
ideas we've talked about over the years, too. I know.
And I'll do them.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I'll go out and do them.
Well, it's the game. Like, and I think you learn that as you go. It's like, oh, this is the game for me. Not necessarily the thing that facilitates, but the game.
It was interesting, too. So when you called me about that, it wasn't like, now I'm like, I have this perspective of, like, growing thirst. And it's like this competition for me. Like, I feel like I'm in a game.
Yeah.
Like 100%. And it's the game of being a restaurateur, basically, right? Being an entrepreneur that is growing their business. I'm in the food industry. Like, that. I'm in a game that I understand now. There's other people, other brands in there, other entrepreneurs in there. I get that now. At the time, it wasn't like an entrepreneur, even then, was like, literally less cool because Gary Vee wasn't around.
Yeah, he wasn't. He hadn't popped off quite as much.
Popped off, and like, let's be honest, he made it cool for life.
And everybody that put entrepreneur in their Instagram for a while early, or their Facebook or whatever early, like you always, for me, I was always kind of like, what? Like,
really?
what do you do? Like,
I didn't even remember that.
Like
that was
early.
Too early for me, honestly.
Yeah, whenever I'd see it, it was like, so you're either doing like some multi-level thing, which I have a lot of people I know who do well with multi-level stuff. I don't hate on it.
She's talking shit.
No. But some of them, they have entrepreneur in their title for 5 days, and then it's something else. They're not really doing it.
We didn't even know what we were doing back there.
No, but
I was pumped. Is what I mean. It's like, now I understand the game. I would be even more excited if someone would do something now. Well, but back then I was just like, oh, a bigger store, like a cool, like more.
Well,
like,
I think
let's do this.
It was cool too. Like, I know that I don't know. I think even at a young age, because you were younger than most people.
I was 18.
Even at a young age, I think
sure.
people would have been skeptical, but I do like really appreciate that you trusted me, because I really did feel like I had a good pulse on the market because I'd been watching it.
Yeah.
And with so little stores, like, just this huge opportunity to capitalize on it.
I looked up to you a ton. I mean, obviously I still do.
Yeah.
But at the time, and like, especially right at the beginning of Thirst, and I still put these things on a pedestal. I've told you this before. Yeah. Like, really.
Yeah.
Like, for real. I can't believe that.
But I think to dive in that young, and like, I mean, knowing what you know now, I think it would be interesting to ask, like, would you do it again?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Dude, all again.
My other question is, before, like, I want to dive into like partnership stuff, like we talked about, and kind of like how we make it work.
Staying on top.
Is like, if it wasn't Thirst, what do you think would the next itch to scratch would have been? Yeah. Like, let's say Olympus Ice, like, we parted ways or whatever, and like, or maybe not in a partnership, but like that was done. What do you think?
I was really close with my couple buddies. This is like year 2. I've told you about this. Year 2-ish of Thirst. I really wanted to start a social media app called Bubble. Mm-hmm. Bubble's legendary. Bubble. I still could have made it. I could, but I'm glad I didn't, because maybe if I decide to do it one day, I could do it now. Actually, I don't even know. I'm not quite ready, actually. Like, but one day I want to take the guerrilla skills of Thirst and of Olympus Ice. Like, literally flyers on every doors that I did at Olympus Ice with a little map. It says, you are here. My Shaved Ice Shack is here.
Yeah.
You can get this discount.
So guerrilla marketing would be like anything, like, basically not online, like hustling, your boots on the ground.
Yeah.
You're handing out flyers, you're knocking doors.
Yeah, it's one by one marketing.
So you would do that with your social app?
Yeah, I would do the same thing. I would learn, and all these other stuff that I'm doing, of like, I'm learning right now, which is why I'm saying I'm not quite ready. Like, give me another like 10 years, and then I want to take, and Thirst will be everywhere, I hope, but I want to also at some point in my career take those same skills and deploy them against something like
that would be the most fun thing to watch. I've thought about that so much, like what your next thing's gonna be, and just like watching what happens from what you've learned. Like, I think that's interesting. And even me, like, I'm in a position right now where my next thing's probably gonna be like a little bit slower until my kids are older. But like, just taking all those lessons learned, I'm so interested.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
And I'm so interested to see what you do.
You know why I think I got them too is no money was involved. There was no budget to do anything. Like,
scrappy. You had to be scrappy.
Dude. I didn't have any money to do anything with Olympus Ice other than exactly what I needed.
Yeah.
My dad put the shaved ice machine on his credit card for me, and like a little bit of money that I had, I think went to syrups, and then you gave me the shack. Like we didn't have any money, like, and that's been the story of Thirst too. Like we've always reinvested everything, and so like that is literally the way to learn.
Well, we made like one beginning story real quick, and then I think we should like ask each other maybe some partnership questions on like kind of like how we've navigated that for this many years, because I'm proud of us.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people do that and like actually still talk to each other.
Yeah.
But being scrappy, like the whole reason Thirst was even able to get off the ground at all was, I mean, obviously your hustle, and we kind of talked about that in the beginning, so we were clear with our kind of partnership on what that would look like, I think.
Yeah.
But like Matt and I sold our house, and like we took all the profits from that and just like dumped it in, and it was like it wasn't enough to get going, but it was like it was a good amount, but it was like it was stretched.
Yeah. And
you made it stretch. Well, like you made it stretch.
Here's my question when I think about that is because a lot of people ask me like how Thirst started. And obviously, we needed a little bit of money to start Thirst.
Yeah.
Like, we found a building, you need a little bit of money.
Yeah.
And then we also were not making money for a long time.
Do people think you come from a lot of money? Or they're just like, oh, like his parents like had like gave him all the money to go? Or
I think a lot of times people think like, in just like, I don't know. I think when people think about raising money for entrepreneurship, like it's just so skewed from reality of what reality actually is. But I like to tell them my story because I think it's the best way to do it. Like for any amount of money it's simple. You need to have someone that's comfortable giving you the money and believes in you to do it. How do you get that? Well, you either go to a bank that trusts you and will give you the money and give you a loan, or you can prove yourself to someone that's willing to take the risk on you, right? Like, and that's kind of the same with the bank, right? Like, you got to prove if you have credibility, other businesses, assets, things like that, the bank will give you money. If you don't have that, then you got to go to some type of investor, right? Or someone that has money. The way to get money from an investor is to put in results before that. And I tell a lot of people the reason I think, and tell me what the reality is, but the reason I think that you were willing to give up that large sum of money at that point, and it's a large sum of money no matter what, but especially at that point in our lives, was because you just watched me work my ass off for 4 years.
Well, we had developed the trust. You were still young. And I don't say that disrespectfully, but like it's the reality of like when I was 26 and started, like I was young and just green, like just green in business. Yeah. Let alone like some life experience stuff too. So
there's no way you would have done that if we didn't do Olympus Ice before, though.
No way. No way. No. Not with all the money I made from my house, which like it really wasn't a ton, but it was like supposed to kind of be this kind of like nest egg to fund other things to like build up our portfolio as because we were young when that happened. Yeah. But so yes, that trust was there. I knew I'd seen the hustle, and also like I was very confident in my watching of the market and what I had learned from Dottie's the previous, that would have been 2 years. Yep. To know how to set it up for the best chance of success. But also anytime you do that, like, I mean, my husband and I had a conversation, and it was like, we could absolutely lose all this money. So is that something we're okay with? Yeah. And I am way more okay with that than he is. But I think it was a combination of that. Like, I was very confident in my abilities to set it up well, to provide the experience, because of my corporate world experience. I had a pretty traditional corporate world job that really taught me to value the people that you work with. Yeah. And create a good employee experience and thus a customer one. So I thought that could translate well. So I think it was a combination of those things. And I mean, I just remember having pretty clear conversations with you on the phone about it, just like a lot more direct than I think I was with some people maybe. I'm a direct person.
No, it was gnarly. Like it wasn't gnarly like mean, but it was like,
but it's
this
heavy
is
stuff.
Real money.
Yeah, it's heavy stuff to talk about and to try to like make sure like you understood, and then I think we've had many conversations where you've done the same with me, like made sure I understand like what's happening or what needs to happen.
I think it's a really good thing to think about, because I think like you putting that pressure too, like I was young and I didn't understand the part of this yet, which is like we're talking about real people's money, real business, like real things are on the line. Things could go badly. Like this is like, there's realities of business too. Like if I'm a dreamer, entrepreneur, like a very excited guy, but like I've been forced to have this balance work towards this balance in my career the last 6-7 years of like, okay, but also there's hundreds of people's paychecks on the line, and their kids need food, kind of stuff. You did that for me though. Like I remember feeling like that. It was pressure, but pressure is good at the time, because you're like, I was like, oh wait, okay, this is actually a large amount of money. This is not a snow cone shack. This is not a couple $1,000 maybe that I thought was huge. That was my dad loaned me at first. This is a large sum of money, and this is not a game. Like you gotta do it.
I mean, we went into an area that there was no soda. We went to downtown Salt Lake. Which that building, the OG building, was like it kicked us off, because that's the only reason I really think it happened even as quickly as it did, was you found that building, and it was just like, let's go.
Yeah. What I was telling you the other day is, I am so glad that downtown was the first store, because it's the worst location as far as location, like where it is. There's hobos everywhere. There's there's no houses really around it. It's not our main demo. Like Salt Lake City is like literally the only part of Utah that drinks coffee is downtown Salt Lake. It didn't fit our demo, and it's like literally was like the hardest scenario to run a brick and mortar business for this concept that no one understood in downtown Salt Lake. I felt like none of these people that were not thirsty moms, they were like, it took a while to, we have thirsty moms that go to downtown, but the people that naturally drive by and go in, which is the first ones that we got, did not understand what was happening down there.
Like, why are we?
And that was hard, dude. That was hard.
Why aren't you selling coffee? Like, why aren't you open on Sundays?
But that's how I learned. Like back to what we were talking about earlier. That's how I learned to do these different strategies. That's how I learned to make literally every customer count. I think that's a way important one. Something I've been telling our managers of stores lately is like, some of them are slow. Some of the stores are slower than we wanted to be right now. I'm like, you guys, you need to be, one of the things, there's a couple things you guys can do. One of them is to be focused on wowing every single one. No, if there's not a lot, there's no reason you should know the name. You should know everyone's name. And this is just stuff that I did before. I'm talking from experience. Literally, I remember one time me and Quinn, one of our former business partners from a chapter into year 2 and 3, we worked every shift at the shop, and we knew everyone's name. One time we were driving downtown, and we recognized the car had been in an accident. It was literally like holding up State Street.
I remember this.
And this lady was on the side of the road. Yeah, this lady was on the side of the road crying, and I don't want to. Well, I'll say her name because she tells the story. She's like in customer service and now tells this everywhere. Her name was Kate, and she gets a Diet Coke with half ice and coconut cream. Still remember, because literally Quinn would work half the day, we would overlap in the middle, and I would work the other half the day. Every day we would work open and close, and so we knew everyone. And like, it wasn't a thing we talked about. It was just a thing like we owned the business, and we really were like grateful for people coming, and we're like, we wanted them to come back. Like we would be really nice to them and just be really grateful for them. Anyways, we knew Kate. We saw her on the road right there. I don't remember why me and Quinn were together, but we circled back as fast as possible, went back to downtown. We were closed. It was like midnight. And we got her a drink. Oh, man. Or like the last 2 things she ordered or something. We looked it up and brought her, and she just started bawling. And like, just like, it was just an example of like literally, if you don't have, I hate when people aren't busy enough and like there's ones that they have sack, you know. And I hate when I do that. I feel like sometimes I'm taken for advantage, and I want to remember that a lot too. But
everyone, like each customer matters, and that was like a big gesture you guys did, but you paid attention. Like a lot of people don't pay attention. I can tell you, like there was an experience I had probably like, I don't know, like 6 weeks ago. I was having a bad week. Okay. Like it was a really bad week, and I was like down, like it was not great. Yeah. And I go to this I go to this coffee shop, and the girl, the barista recognizes me, and she's like, "Sierra, I haven't seen you in a while. How are you? Do you want your usual?" And dude, like, I know that we've done that for a lot of customers because that's how we built like the whole foundation, but I haven't been as much on the receiving end because I'm working. Like I'm in it, and I'm not like out so much. But to receive that, just like a recognition of like me and my name, and let alone my order.
Yeah.
Like it took me from just like a low place to like a great day. And I think if anyone like takes any notes from this, no matter what your business is, you can do that with any business to like let your customers know that they matter.
Yeah.
And just smile at them.
Yeah.
Like smiling at someone. I've had people come through Dottie's and like say that before. And I know we've had it at Thirst too. Like, man, like
why are you guys so happy?
Why are you guys so happy? And like, you know what, like this is one of the best parts of my day.
Yeah.
Like you guys knowing my name or you guys just like greeting me pleasantly.
Yeah.
Like I'm grateful that that's continued, because I think that with business, especially I think with partners who start off and then, you know, you've taken the reins the last few years and have been running it, mostly you, I think that like those foundational core values could change.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful that one hasn't.
Yeah, totally.
And because I think it can set us apart.
Yeah. Makes me think like a lot. I've been thinking a lot lately, and I wrote this down, so I'm jumping early, but it's worked perfect. New ways to hustle. New ways to hustle as I'm developing in my career. I love the word hustle. Like I love hustling. I loved it at the beginning for sure, because it was easier, because it's literally you hand out flyers, you know, you're DMing everyone on Instagram, you're like working a lot. Like working a lot is like hustling. But I think thinking about new, more even strategic ways to hustle, and just new ways to hustle as you're developing your career. For example, one is hustling means being really nice and positive and wowing every customer, just like you're talking about. Like that's hustling too.
Yes, it is.
Like you're not hustling if you're just there like a robot, like sit working the store. Like this, I tell this to myself or my managers. Like, I don't want you there like to just go through the motions. Like hustling is about like making progress. You know what I mean? Hustling also can be, you can hustle in relationships too. I think like
100%.
Yeah, this chapter of my career is more. It's completely shifted over the last 2-3 years. I've told you lots. Is I used to be focused on running the store and the business, and I could control all of it. Even with 2-3 stores, I was running around a lot, but I could still get my hands on everything if I was moving quick. Now I can't. There is literally no way that I can. And so I've shifted into now, instead of being focused on controlling the store, I'm now focused on controlling my people. And not so much controlling, I'd say more like supporting and giving praise to and giving feedback to and holding accountable and being a friend to and supporting. And it's you can hustle in that way. Hustle means making a point to call all of your direct reports every day and have a genuine conversation and follow through with how you can help them. Hustle means to bring the attitude and the tone that you want it to be and is best for everyone in every meeting, in every scenario. So it's like, it's not just working a lot. You know what I mean? Like, and so like I've had a new respect and perspective on hustle, where it's like, okay, I still like to work all the hours at this point in my life. Like I just do. Like it makes me the most happiest. I do it every day, all day. But I think if at some point I don't want to do that, if I do want to work 9 to 5, or for anyone that does work just 9 to 5, I think you can still hustle in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and there's 100%. Like new creative ways, and I didn't understand that before. Yeah. I thought it was just amount you work.
Amount of time.
Now I'm like, oh, there's actually different ways to hustle.
Yeah. And I think keeping like that happens, that you evolve as you grow in your business, right? Like you're saying, very shop focused, processes focused, which you still are, but then it's like, then you realize at one point, oh, I'm in the business of people now.
Yeah, 100%.
To get it to where you want it to be, because if you're trying to rely on yourself to get it where you want it to go, or where it like is going, it's not going to work.
It's not. And
so
I've
have to progress.
Failed on this, dude. Like I failed. One of the things
we all have.
Well, yeah, we all have for sure, and I'm proud of it. Like I like it, but like especially lately, as it's gotten to just we're growing, and every chapter is harder than the last one, and is different, and requires new strategies and new ways to hustle, and like definitely have been just failing like a lot recently, but it's been so good because like I honestly just kind of feel like a little bit more like unstoppable when I do. Like I've messed up a lot of catering events lately. I've messed up like you know what's interesting is like I feel like we're in this moment of thirst right now where it's like we're not at our peak of popularity. Like we're not at our peak, like at least
hype.
Yeah, hype. We're not at our peak hype, and that translates to sales. It translates to the culture. It translates to a lot of things. But like we're not there, okay? And like I think number one is like interesting to recognize that, and like number one is always being aware to recognize it, and that like it helps so much. So I've been recognizing that lately, and I'm like, okay, like we're in this moment where like clearly I need to be making a change of strategy, you know? And so like first I'm recognizing it, and now I'm working on like these things that are like to get back to that point. Yeah, it's fun.
Well, I think that's what. To me, from this perspective, is what's giving you that energy to like get actually hyped about it, because it would topple some people.
Yeah,
it would absolutely topple some people, and they would either probably continue just running it as is, with some deficiencies just to keep it going until it just dies and it's no longer recoverable. But what I respect and appreciate about you is that you're recognizing it, and you take accountability for it. And that, I think, gives you an empowerment to then go and fix it.
Yeah.
And to go make better systems, to go work with your people to do that stuff. And I think I'm glad for that, because I think it really can. It can get hard at this point, too, because of how many embers are in the fire. Yeah. Like how many, what's going on.
So the rest of the story of thirst, and then let's go a couple things before we round out, too, is like basically what happened is Sarah gave me that money. We went after it. We had our one store, and basically there's a bunch of different chapters and things that happened along the way, but like she's played more of like a hands-off role and a huge support to me for all the things that I need her help with. She's been advised me along the way. We made definitely the first 4 years of decisions together. Anything that was a big decision at all. We've also been through another chapter of our partnership where I raised more money and bought some of your equity.
Yep.
And I think it's important to tell people. It's like, because I don't think you care.
We had some questions on that too.
It makes it like it's impressive. I think how we've navigated. I mean, we've definitely had our flaws in it, but like we've also been through another chapter. So and then this last couple years has been more just mostly me, and then we're just on the phone every few weeks or something. But it's we've been through a heck of a ride, and we've built just an amazing. So much fun company.
It's been a lot of good learning for sure. Yeah. What do you think? So let's talk a little bit briefly on like some tips for people who are maybe considering getting into a partnership.
Yeah.
Or what do we think has worked and what hasn't worked, and what have we learned? Yeah. Like maybe we talk about some of the great times, some of the difficult times, and how to navigate through those.
I think for me, one thing I've learned is like like I was saying before, I'm a business guy. Like love this competition of business. Yeah, I'm in my field sometimes too, but I love business. Like I love going, like I'm not, like that's who I am. And one of my business strategies I've now learned is if nothing else, this is a business strategy for your partnership or with your employees, is to put your ego aside at all times. What you're saying based upon something that is selfless? If it's not the right move, I don't think. And I think I haven't nailed that in our partnership or in my career every time, but I think number one, just being aware of it, like are you being selfless? Like are you being a good person? Like do you have the best for your partner in mind? I think we've stayed pretty dang true to that. We've stayed pretty dang true to that. We've had a couple instances where like we check each other on it for sure. Like wait, what about that? We'll call each other out on stuff for sure. But like I think number one, no matter what, is a business strategy to be selfless. Like straight up. And like I think about it all the time. Like especially the last year as things are just getting crazy. Like crazy. So much like good crazy. It's a new chapter. It's like a whole new game and new strategy. But I'm like, I'm in the people business, and the number one thing I need to be conscious in your head while you're driving, in your head while you're in that meeting, think about the next thing you're going to say. Like really hustle at that. Like hustle, like try, don't be lazy with this. It's like, am I saying something right now that's like based upon my ego? If it is, it's probably not the right move. Am I acting on impulse right now? Like, is this the best move for the business to move forward, for this person and and everyone involved? Like, is it the most selfless best move? That is the way to win. Like, in my opinion, like it's as simple as is that, and then probably a couple other things we'll talk about, but really, like, that's my top strategy right now. Being conscious of it's number one. I'm not saying I'm nailing it.
Yeah.
I'm saying I'm thinking about it, whether I'm nailing it.
I think it's important.
You know?
I think, too, like, when I'm consulting people and businesses, I will tell them, like, if you're going to go into a partnership, you do need to have very clear expectations. And we were talking about that before cameras were rolling with some people that you're bringing on.
Yeah.
Like, very clear expectations with, like,
you taught me this for sure.
especially with friends and family.
Can we tell them tangibly what that looks like? Like, position agreements.
Yeah, position agreement, partnership agreement in place, like, not a handshake thing. Like, I don't care how long you've known them. I don't care if they're your grandma. Like, especially if they're your grandma. Get it on paper.
This is how you taught me kind of like the base to do it, and this is how I've adapted over the years, is literally you put, because we're real entrepreneurs here. Like, this is like actual strategy. You make a Google Doc. The top says whatever their position is, agreement. You list out, and this is what I like to do, their weekly to-do list. Everything they're responsible for in a week. And then my strategy is, and then I have them sign it when they get hired. My strategy is weekly. In between the week, I don't, unless I'll call them and, like, support them and how they need, but I won't help them get to point A to point B, really. Yeah. Like, I'll let them do it, let them figure it out. At the top, every week, I'll go have a meeting with them, and I'll just ask them this to-do list. And it's not personal at all. This is one of the things that you help me with a lot, is, like, this is business, it's not personal, and if you can approach it that way, you're way more efficient, and you can still have a good relationship with them.
That's hard sometimes when you're managing, and then also with a partnership, too, like, you get to know that person so much, usually. I mean, it depends on the partnership, but it's like sometimes it is hard to, like, check on those things because it's like maybe an uncomfortable topic, or like you don't want to seem like I never wanted to seem early on like I was micromanaging, but I kind of also was like, I'm accountable for certain things that we outlined in our partnership agreement and that I feel are my strengths. So I'm going to check on those things.
And that's different than, it's almost like I was almost even more talking about like a manager. Where it's like easy to write down, like, you're responsible for managing labor. Partnership.
But it translates
for sure, 100%. But I think even with partnerships, there's a little bit more gray area. Oh, yeah. Right? Like, there's different conversations that are more than just a list. Like, for sure. And I think, honestly, one of the top things that we've gotten through it with is communicating. When we don't talk, it sucks. I get anxious.
It's me too.
Especially, like, particularly the early days when together we were making these huge key decisions that were financial, like, big decisions, like sketchy decisions. Like, you got to talk.
Your communication skills have to be on point, and if they're not, you have to get them on point and realize that it's like, I mean, as closely as we were working together, really, like, with what we were trying to accomplish early on, it is like a pretty close relationship. Like, it's like, like I talked to you as much as my husband early on. And so, like,
you need to put literally that much thought into it.
You have to put that much thought and energy into it if it's going to be, if that's how you outlined it. And another tip early on that we did is I remember us making an org chart. Like, this is like early stuff, like dreaming, org chart. This is how the structure of the company is going to look. And in the beginning, it's either one or two names in the boxes, every single box. And then that's on your partnership agreement. So partnership tips, put it on paper. Communication is probably my biggest one. Like, I think yours is like kind of like checking your ego, selflessness. And then you got to communicate and get really good at it
too. Like, transparent. Like, one of the strategies I have always in business, whether content or like employees or this, is like, just, you have to be able to say what you need to say. Whether it's feedback, whether it's what you want to be doing. Like, sure, I want to now at this point, like, there was a call at one point 3 or 4 years in where I'm like I want to take this over even more. Like I want to make
a lot more decisions.
Before we go any bigger, like, I want to take on even more. Like, I want to take on the full thing of this. And like, I had to be able to say that, you know what I mean? And so, like, I think a lot of people where problems come, or like just like unhappiness comes, is just when you can't say what you need to say. You know what I mean?
You don't dare, or you're not sure how, or there's not that trust there. Because it does take a certain amount of trust, I think, to, like, be able to open up with that. Because some people might not know how that's going to come across. So
let's hit 1 or 2 other things before we wrap. Really quick.
Okay.
You want to go first?
Let's see.
What's been on your mind?
What's been on my mind? I'm glad we dived into partnership. Obviously, we're going to edit some of this out.
No editing. We're going raw,
editing
people.
Raw. Let's see what's been on.
Some of the stuff.
Okay, this is what's been on my mind. And this is something I've dived into a lot over the last few years that I have been gently mentioning to you and trying to get you on board with.
Sure, I'll know.
Is like maybe taking that concept of hustle and applying it to your own person and balanced well-being.
Oh, I can't speak here.
So one thing I've thought about is like, and that I see with you that I'm just going to keep gently encouraging, and I've told you this multiple times in the last 6 months, is like you can go so long as a person with like so much adrenaline and excitement towards something, and I think you will continue to go, but I do think there's a point where all the stress and cortisol can catch up with you. And so what I've been working on the last few years is like how to balance stuff for me. So like really I had to, like, you know the story, but like I had to bring in like exercise to like not lose my shit. Like I had to like start eating better, and like it's made such a significant change for me. Yeah, and so that's one thing I would say that's been on my mind a lot, is like how do you keep that balance, and like I guess I'm asking the audience to check themselves a little bit, but really diving into like, are you taking care of yourself like an athlete?
Yeah.
And I tell this to Ethan all the time, like that's how I'm approaching it, is like, you're an athlete right now.
Yeah.
You're hustling, you're putting in so many reps. Like, are you taking care of yourself like an athlete? And that, I think it's important, man, because I just see how it can catch up. And so I've been diving into that a lot.
Yeah.
I've been like doing like even like creating a little team of like health kind of people to like focus on that with me. Like I hired a coach. I'm doing like some like immunity, like immune system infusions to like really make sure I can be at the top of my game. And I do wish that I would have dived into that earlier. Yeah. So that's why I'm going to be gently encouraging you. I think that it will. A lot of that has helped me manage my anxiety and like distress. Yeah. Which I think about a lot for you. Dude. I think about a lot for you, and then like I think about like my early days too, and like had I have implemented some of these things earlier, like I don't have regrets necessarily, but like man, would I have gotten to enjoy like a little bit better health earlier? Yeah. And I think that can sustain longer. So I'm. That's what's on my mind lately. Yeah. What's on your mind lately?
Going off of that, I'm totally changing what I was originally texting you earlier, but like I was thinking about this on the way here. You're definitely right, by the way. I want to and know that I want to step up. Like I think it will make me feel better. Even I don't feel like I need that extra step right now. Like I don't feel bad, but I'm excited to do it because to see what another level I'm going to go to.
But this is the thing. I will say this real quick, and I want you to finish your thought. Is I didn't feel bad either. Yeah. Until, I mean, it got to a point where I was like very, very stressed, but it could have been like really bad. Yeah. So I'm very interested to see. I'm just gonna keep gently encouraging. Okay, continue. So
no,
you don't feel like you need to do that yet.
Right. But I think what I've been thinking about is everyone should be whether you're an entrepreneur or whatever, it's stressful, it's anxious, like entrepreneurship is. Let's just stay there, right? Like it's intense. It's intense.
It's lonely.
That's honestly the chapter that I'm in. Like to be totally honest, like if you're watching this, you probably, and we were talking about this, like you probably have noticed like I'm not as, for the last 6 months even plus, Ethan from Thirst, rah, like posting as much. Yeah, like I'm not posting as much. I'm not on the offense as much. Feeling the pressure. People, like I'm feeling pressure. I think like it's a couple of things about that. Number one is like I'm okay with it. Like I like it. Like I like it. I'm just in a chapter. I think it's important for people to know I'm not sad. I'm in a chapter where I want to figure out my operations. Like I want to do this great base groundwork that can help me in the long run. So like I feel I love it. It's part of the game. Yeah. But it's also hard. And I think that something I was thinking about coming here is like everyone should be working to be like in their life as an entrepreneur, to stay on that narrow topic, is like not being anxious and just being as happy as possible. Like, whatever you need to do to not be anxious. Like, anxiety is number one in entrepreneur space. Like, I want to stay on entrepreneur because that's always what I know, and I'm a young human and have lots of life experience left to go. I've been doing entrepreneurship and have felt the pressure of it for a pretty solid number of years now. It's very clear to me, like, whatever you need to do, firing that person, saying that transparent, honest thing to that partner that you have, like, making the move, like, taking care of your health, like, whatever it is, like, that you need to do to be less anxious
getting
is the
support.
ultimate top, like, version of you as an entrepreneur. Like, I'm getting there even more and more and more and more and more. Like, I'm figuring, like, these things that do make me anxious. Okay, I'm going to hustle on those. Another way to hustle is I'm going to go into those specific areas and fix that. And, like, I'm feeling better and better and better and better. And, like, I'm like, I can't wait till I'm at this, like, peak moment of, like, I really am not anxious. Like, I'm super, like, and I think you get there just by, honestly, a lot of just, like, doing the right thing. Like, doing the right thing and being honest with people and, like, not just, like, learning from experiences, not putting yourself in bad positions, like, and also just, like, having a good perspective. But, like, as an entrepreneur, like, you're probably feeling the anxiety, probably feeling the pressure. I think the number one thing is, like, is you should be attacking the things that are making you feel that. And I think one of them, too, is, like, there's always going to be pressure for sure, and there should be pressure as you're going the business. I think one thing that's important, one of the ways you can attack it to feel less anxious, that I've done a lot, is don't judge yourself as much. Like, that doesn't mean don't take it seriously. And I've thought about this a lot. It's like there's a fine line between like, don't judge yourself doesn't mean don't do that extra work you needed to do in order to get, like, bonuses out for next month or something, you know, like, some, like, real work. That's not an excuse to not do real work. It more so means, like, if you're genuinely trying your absolute best, you had good intent in all areas, like, let it go. Let yourself go a little bit. Like, just chill. Just chill. Like, this is literally the shit I'm saying in my head. That's, like, you're good. Like, you've done like, if you, especially, too, if you do right by everyone. Like, if you're not trying to F anyone over. If you're genuinely not trying to squeeze the most out of an employee and, like, let them leave. Like, I literally say things to employees that quit, like to leave on the best note possible. And, like, in every relationship, people call me softer, like, too soft. Like, in a lot of my relationships, I do it because it gives me less anxiety. Because I don't have anything to worry about. All I did was the right thing in that scenario. And, like, if you do that, then you can just remind yourself in your head, you're like, you're good. Like, you are good. Like, so if there's an entrepreneur listening, like, I haven't mastered this for sure. I feel anxiety still. It's hard. And you should feel pressure, but, like, don't kill yourself.
But I think check yourself. Like,
have fun,
if it's too much, like, I think it's time to, like, look at what's going on. Like, do you need to hire a coach?
Change it up.
Do you need to hire a therapist?
Something.
Like, honestly, like, meditation. Meditation is one thing that really helped me recognize the anxiety and recognize where it was coming from, instead of just, like, this blanket, like, I am so uncomfortable and stressed out, but where is it coming from? So then I could tackle it. It's that employee is just like, I know I need to take care of that, and they're infecting the team. I need to go take care of that thing. But I like that. Don't judge yourself.
It's intense, dude. It's intense. Like,
it is.
I feel like I like talking to you about realities of entrepreneurship. There is no one that understands the reality of the entrepreneurial pressures of your business. No one else does. Your position, your business, with those people riding on you, with no other line of defense behind you, there's no one that understands it. And it's like, that's crazy. So one, like, careful what you're signing up for. Two is, like, if you are doing it, like, understand that it's part of the game. Like, this is stuff I say to myself, by the way. Like, this is supposed to be happening, Ethan. Like, feel it and, like, hustle. Like, do your absolute best. But then, like, at the end of the day, like, just remember, like you're good. Like, like, you're doing right by everyone. You're trying your best. Like, this is a lot better than most people.
You're learning a lot. You're implementing.
Breathe.
You're breathe. Keep breathing.
So breathe, people.
Get enough sleep.
Honestly.
Drink your water.
Do something fun. This has been awesome.
We'll do it again soon, hopefully, right? We want to do it again. Tackle
Thank you
some
so
more
much.
topics.
Thanks to everyone who's supported Thirst for this long, honestly,
Happy
too.
birthday. Happy birthday, Thirst.
Thank you. Happy birthday to you, too. Love you guys. See ya.